What's going on, YouTube? How you doing? This video gonna be about Mike Trout. Mike Trout's already off to a great start for the LA Angels, and he's now moved from center to right field. 6 home runs already. This is still early in the season, but the question is, will he be able to maintain? Mike Trout is one of those guys that is so frustrating because he was considered the best of his generation. Uh, if you look at his stats already, with his home runs and RBIs. With the RBIs, it's one of those stats I was looking at. He'd be already better than Mickey Mantle, who gets all this love and acclaim. Trout was a bad dude, but the problem I had with Trout is he injuries and he just wasn't that type of dude. And what I mean by that type of dude is he had Albert freaking Pujols as a teammate, and they did absolutely nothing together with the Angels. And then he happens to get Shohei Ohtani, and he doesn't do nothing against him with him. So he's had two of the greatest players, along with being a great player himself, and never reaching the next level. Now, it's ironically, he plays for the Angels, and the Angels are kind of like the Clippers to the Dodgers being like the Lakers. So when you think about Mike Trout, he's like James Harden and the former teammate Paul George. He's not a Kawhi Leonard because he doesn't have a chip. But when you think about his career and his trajectory, you're thinking this guy has a big old asterisk because it could have been, should have been a lot more than what's there. And I look at Mike Trout and I'm thinking, man, how did he not be bigger than he was? Because the talent is there, the the depth, but it just didn't resonate into another level. So it's kind of like odd, a guy who seemingly has from a stat perspective, but he can't never stay healthy, and his teams never go nowhere, and they've had talent. That's the crazy thing about when I think about Mike Trout, because when I look at what he's done, his career would be Hall of Fame based, but we don't talk about him right now with Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. We don't. He's almost being kind of forgotten because of his injuries and what has happened. So he'd have to have a monster year. Still think that realistically he could probably get 500 home runs. I mean, if he plays another, because he's 33. So if he relatively plays another 5 years and he can stay relatively healthy. But the guy that I once saw that had all this pick and pop and was potential, that guy never came back. That dude, I remember when I used to go against Felix Hernandez when Felix was the king in Seattle pitching. He's the one guy who could touch up Felix. And Trout had incredible instincts. But again, injuries and just not being that team dude.